Hi everyone, I'm going to show you how to mix your Lindsay Stamp Gang Starburst color shots. They come in this little plastic jar and it's in powder form. So basically what you're going to do is shake it all so it's all the way at the bottom, all the powder. It says you can mix it with hot water or with any medium of your choice. I am going to use the hot water, and it also says to pour to the line, which I'm assuming this is the line here. So you're going to use hot water, and I'm just going to pour it in. I am going to close it. I'm going to shake it up really good. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. And I now have, the color that was sent to me was the Cotton Candy Pink. And again, this is the color shot. Now I'm going to open it up, and I have some pretty pink I'm not going to call it paint because it's a finer, it's thinner than paint, but I'm assuming that this is going to kind of work like a shimmer spritz, or you can, use it, oop, I didn't close this right. You can use it with a brush, and I will show you how I'm going to use it in a little bit in a project. So yeah, so don't do as I did. Make sure you close it right so you don't get it everywhere. Let's see, still not closed right. Paper towels to the rescue. All right, so that's how you mix your Starburst color shots, and these come from the Sweet Treats collection. Now the reason why they're so, the shipping on these are so economical because they come in powder, so obviously the weight is next to nothing. So I think that's a great, okay, there we go. I closed it right this time. That helps with the shipping. It makes it cheaper because obviously now it's definitely a lot heavier than it was before I added the water to it. The other item I'm going to show you is also by Lindy's Stamp Gang, and it's the Moon Shadow Mist. And this one is in, I guess Moon Shadow is the color. Oh no, Buccaneer Bay Blue. And if you look right here, there's the color, and also it comes in a powder form, and it comes in a spritz bottle. Now the trick to this, so that you don't clog up your spritzer, is you got to tap all the powder out from the spray tube. So basically you tap it, you can see that there's no clog. It's not clogged up. All my powder is in there, and there's a little line on the label right there, and it says fill right above it. It's kind of small, so you really, I didn't see it until right now. And again, you mix this with hot water. Let me find my fill line. And the water, my water's pretty hot. I actually put it in the microwave for about a minute, just to make sure that it was hot enough and it would stay hot as I set up to record. Make sure you close it right, and you give it a really good shake. And we're going to continue shaking. I am going to grab a piece of cardstock so that I can show you what my beautiful, and I'm sure it's going to be beautiful, Buccaneer Bay Blue is going to look like. Oh, I have a really nice color combo here. I know exactly what I'm going to do with it. Between the pink and the blue, I'm sure it's going to be gorgeous. All right, so it's shook pretty good. Again, this is the Moon Shadow Mist, And the Moonshadow Mist come in over 150 colors in 4 different varieties. And I'm sure you will find every one of your misting needs in these sprays. Okay, so it takes a couple spritz for it to actually come through. Okay, I may have sprayed a little more than I should have, huh? But I just want you to see, once it looked kind of dark and I was wondering, uh-oh, did I read it wrong? But as I tap it out, I can now see the blue, and I can also see the blue in the paper towel. And I'm just going to hit it with the heat gun real quick and see. I think I sprayed a little too much, but either way, it is a golden blue color. It has some gold. You can see the blue. It's very iridescent. Oh my God, it's so pretty. I guess once it'll start to dry, the darkness will be less. You know what? Let's try that one more time. Make sure it's nice and mixed. And you always want to shake. You know, especially if it's been sitting around for a little bit, you want to make sure you get all the colors to you know, all the powder to mix in. And I'm just going to do that lightly. I don't want to saturate like I did before. I'll add a little more. So the beauty of this color is when it's flat, it kind of looks like a distressed brownish color. But when you turn it, I don't know if you can see that, and it hits the light. There you go. You see how you see the iridescent blue? It's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so tune in a little bit. I will come back and share a project again with my Lindy's Stamp Gang Moonshadow Mist and my Starburst Color Shot in Cotton Candy Pink. Just to tell you, the color shots are vibrant shimmer pots. They add a multitude of art mediums for great. Actually, you can add a multitude of art mediums for great painting versatility. It's mixed media heaven. And also, one other product that I got from Lindy's to try out is their embossing powder in a midnight. It's called Midnight Pewter. Ooh, this is going to be beautiful. And a little bit about the embossing powders. They're unique two-tone shimmer embossing powders. I'm actually really excited to use this. I think I'm going to create a card, and I will show you my card in a little bit. Okay, so at this point, you've seen how I've mixed my Lindy Stamp Gang's Color Shot, and you've also seen how I've mixed the Lindy Stamp Gang Moonshadow Mist. So now I'm going to show you how to use it. So I've cut a piece of cardstock, and this is in a craft color. It's an 8.5 by 11 sheet. I basically cut it in half to 5.5 by 8.5. And I've already folded it in half. And then I've cut from the DIY shop 6 by 6 pad I've cut this sheet, which it's like the pinkish little diamonds. I've cut that to 5 3/8 by 4 1/16 of an inch. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mix my color shot really, really good. Make sure all the pigment is nice and mixed in. I'm going to grab a brush, and what I'm going to do is basically paint over my paper. The good thing about it is you can make this as dark or as light as you'd like. I personally don't want it too dark because I want to see the background. So I'm just going to give it a light once over with the brush and make sure that it's all nice and covered. And I'm going to close my color shot, put it aside, and I'm going to dry my paper with my heat gun. I apologize for the noise, but so it's okay if your paper bends a little bit, because what happened was it was mixed with water, so the saturation makes the paper bend. But if you can see that, you can see the nice, you can still see the background, but it has a nice shimmer to it, and it has a deeper pink color than what the paper had. If you look at my original paper and you look at it after I used the shimmer, the color shot on it. Okay, so that's going to be our background. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this stencil, and it is a word stencil. I don't have the name of it directly in, I think it's Mini Art Is, and I'm just going to go about halfway on the paper. So actually a little more than half. I would probably say 3 inches from your right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some embossing paste, and that's by Studio 490. I'm just going to take a small amount because I don't feel I'm going to need a lot of it. And I'm also going to color it in with my Starburst color shot. Since I just mixed it, I'm not going to mix it. And you don't need a lot. And basically, I don't want to get it on my brush. So basically, it's like a big droplet. And we'll start with that, and we'll mix it up. You don't want to put too much because then you're going to water it down too much. So, oh, it's giving it a nice shimmer. So I'm just going to, just a tiny bit more, just to make the pink a little deeper. Okay, and I'm going to close that up. Now you can mix these Starburst color shots with any type of mixed medium that you'd like. I wanted the water because I feel that it's a lot more versatile that way. So, all right, so like I said, 3 inches from the right, and I'm going to turn this around so you can see what I'm doing. And you're just going to go over it, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to get some of the words in there. They don't have to be all written in. I don't think we want that in here. Okay. And then voila. I'm sure you can see that there is some writing on there. So as I heat this up to dry, because you do want it dry before our next step. And one thing I do want to stress is that you always want to clean, even if it's just wipe down with a baby wipe, your stencils, because I've made the mistake of letting them dry and you kind of ruin them that way. So, you know, even if you just lightly take off the majority of your paste, it doesn't have to be perfect for now, but later on I will put this in some soapy water. And then the next one I'm going to use is also from the same Rebecca Meyer Designs, and this one's called Mini Specimens. And I'm going to use this part right here. And what I'm going to do is, you see how this line, I'm going to use that line right there as the top and the bottom of my card. So basically right there, I take my palette knife, I squish it through, making sure to get my anchor here, because this is one of the reasons why I wanted to use this. Okay, and then again, we'll dry this before our next step. And then I want to use that same one, but I'm going to flip it over, so I'm going to clean the side that I just put the paste on, and I'm going to flip it over so that that line again now is on the bottom of my card. And I'm going to pick up my paste and once again just run it through. And there you have it. So let's clean this off. Okay, so we'll dry this. Okay, so next step that I'm going to do is I am going to use, I'm going to clean this off first so that I don't get it on anything. And I'm also going to remove whatever excess is on my palette knife. This dries pretty quick, so. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do with our card is still a little wet, I apologize, is we're going to use the Lindy Stamp Gang Moonshadow Mist. Now, you gotta mix this really good. You wanna make sure that all that blue yumminess or whatever color you have is really, really, really mixed really good. I'm gonna put my brush to get cleaned, and I'm gonna have a different brush here. Now again, once you see that the blue is gone, as you can see it's no longer really there, you can spray it on your surface. I want to be a little bit more detailed, so I'm going to spray it onto my mat here. I'm going to mix the color up, and then I'm just going to dab the edge because I want to get a little spillage. And you're just going to go around your edges. Just kind of to give it just keep going over it until you get it dark as you want. All right, so for this portion, again, we'll heat it up. There's a couple spots that had a lot of color on them, so I'll just dab it a little bit. I'll clean my surface again. I'm going to put my brush in water, and I don't know if you can see that, the edge of that. Isn't it gorgeous? Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my big brush pen in the Pink Madder Lake, and I'm just going to lightly go over some of these pink circles, and I'm just going to dab them with my finger, not on the paper. You want to actually do it on the dried embossing paste. And I'm just doing this just to give it a little bit of dimension, and so you can just kind of go on some of them, some of the letters, and try to do it all in the same direction. If you're doing the bottoms of things, you want to keep going in that direction because basically it's a shadow that we're trying to create. Alright. Alright, my corners are still really wet, so let me just dry that real quick. Okay, much better. Alright, so that's our background. Now we're going to start assembling our card. The first thing I'm going to use is Not Present. Where did it go? Ah, right here. I'm using a Prima trim in the sand lace, and that we'll use as our anchor to go across. But before we do that, I just remembered something else. I wanted to add a little more of a grunge detail to it. So I'm using my Kaiser Craft. It's a clear stamp edges, and basically I think I'm gonna go with this one, and I'm not even going to use my a stamper. I'm going to use my fingers. I'm going to use my Nougat Pit pen, and I'm just going to color it on, and I'm going to go right about there, and then I'm going to do a few little areas. Okay, now with that said, I am going to glue my lace down slightly above where I just inked, and I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. So there's my ink, and it's just going to be right on top of it, and I'm going to use my hot glue gun because it dries quicker. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is I have these wild orchid flowers in my stash, and I will add 2 of them to them. One there, about there. Now, one thing I want to tell you is I ran out of leaves and I'm waiting for a shipment. And if you have, let's zoom in a little bit. If you have, I have this green flower. It's been in my stash for probably as long as I've been scrapbooking. I've started using the petals, and if you see that, it almost looks like a leaf. So I'm going to use this because I think if you have a flower, you should have a leaf somewhere. So I'm just lifting that a little bit, putting it under, and we'll do that with this side too. Kind of gives it a little bit more interest. And for some reason my flowers are not gluing down. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is I have these little pink flowers for my stash as well. And I have 4 different ones. And like this is like the last of them. I had probably thousands of them. And what I did was I took 2 of them together, folded it in half, okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck them right in here. Okay, and before I do that, I am going to just add a little tiny droplet of glue so that they stick together and they don't fall off. Alright, and then I'm just going to add a little glue there for this one. And then I'll do the same to this one. Trying to work as quickly as possible. I don't like long videos, and I don't want to subject you to a very long video either. So, alright, so I've added my flowers. Now I'm going to add one of these little metal flower thingies that I've purchased from the wedding section at one of the big box stores. I want to say it was probably Hobby Lobby or something like that. And we're just going to add that like right in there, kind of tucked in between the 2 flowers on top of the pink ones. Okay. And the next thing I'm going to do is maybe add a couple of these little pearly things. And again, this is from the big box store. And I mean, they're super cheap. There's like, I don't know, maybe 100 little pearls for like $2. And you can cut them as long as you need them. All right, like that, right there. And we'll add 1 or 2 more. I don't want to put too many. Maybe right there. Okay, so I am loving this right now. I really like the way it looks. I don't want to add anything else other than maybe tuck some cheesecloth that I've already pre-cut. And I think I'm going to cut that in half. And I'm going to try it. I'm going to try and see if I can do it. I should have done this beforehand. I'm going to try and tuck around. Okay, that kind of works. Tuck around my flowers, and you can just kind of dab little bits of glue. You don't need a lot of glue for this, because once it's down, it's not going to really go anywhere because it'll be tangled up into everything else. Ow. Now, if you feel it's too much, give it a haircut. The messier, the better. And I think I'm going to add a little bit to the bottom here. Maybe smart to use the edge of something so that you don't burn your fingers like I have done one too many times. And again, if there's some hanging off, you can cut it. And I like the way that looks. Let me bring it close to you. See how pretty that looks right there? Now, I think we're gonna make this a birthday card. So what we're gonna use is the Lindy Stamp Gang Midnight Pewter. And I have a happy birthday stamp that I already got ready on here, and that one is by, I believe, Bo Bunny. It came in one of the kits a while back. And I have a scrap of paper from the same collection, and it's kind of a pastel color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to emboss, use some Ranger clear embossing pad. Okay. And I think I'm going to go with this corner, and I'm going to stamp my image. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'll shake this up a little bit and pour some on. Ooh, I kind of went a little bit overboard, but that's okay. Now, I should have gone over my paper with one of those embossing little pillow looking things. I always forget to do that. If it's not in front of me, I forget. All right, so there is our image, and I'm going to bring it closer so you can see that it has the powder. And now let me show you something. You see the Y? It almost looks like I missed a spot when I stamped. That's no problem. Here's what you do. You grab your embossing pen. Where is my embossing pen? All right, well, in the event that you find your embossing pen, my apologies, it was one of my great ideas, and then now I have no idea where my embossing pen is. You would take an embossing pen, and you can just dab it where you need it. All right, I have no idea where that embossing pen went. I thought it was in here, and it is not in here. Oh, wait. Okay, so you would take your embossing pen, you would dab it where you need it, and you would just put the embossing powder again and heat it up again. Very simple. You know what, I'm just to show you a better, I don't want anyone to think that it's the powder, it was definitely my stamping. I will move it over and I will re-stamp the image. Make sure that this time we got it covered. Oh yes, this time we definitely got it. Perfect. A smart scrapbooker or stamper would definitely have one of those little trays, or would have something under. Oh, I just messed that up. Why is the embossing not liking me today? let's try that again. Oh, let me close this up before it flies everywhere. That would not be fun. And look at how gorgeous that is. Now, you really can't tell, but there is this absolutely gorgeous shimmer around the happy birthday. It is stunning. All right, so I am going to grab my scissors. I am going to cut my happy birthday, which I probably stamped way too close to the other image. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it look like a little pennant. Yeah, I'm using my my fabric shears. I'm kind of one of those people who grab the first thing they see, and for some reason they're huge, they're orange, and they're always in front of me. So we'll do a happy birthday pennant. Oh, it's too long. Maybe not. We'll have to cut this down. And basically, it just says happy birthday. There's nothing else to it. You can use a corner punch. I'm just going to grab my scissor and lightly cut my corners. Try to stay within the same width all the way around. I'm going to use, where is my pop dots? And we'll use 4 of them. And then we'll put 1 in the middle just to give it a little support. Okay, and let me show you the card again. And we'll kind of tuck it in. And we'll just stick it down right there. And there you go. You could also use a little distress ink for the edges. I don't know why I didn't think of that before, but you can do that. I'm using, I believe it's tea dye, which is one of my favorites. It's always on there. Okay, and now what we'll do is you can adhere your card face to whatever you want to use. I think I'm going to use some score tape, and I'm going to use a 1-inch because it's kind of heavy, so I want to make sure that it's going to adhere. And a little to the middle. Some of these are so hard to peel off. I apologize. But I guess that's part of crafting, right? Patience. Oop. All right, so this is going to be the card. Make sure that you have it folded in the direction you want. And I cut it so I would have a little edge to it. I'll make sure that I'm centered. I apologize if I'm out of view. And I think that is as good as it's going to get. And you get the idea. My apologies if it's not straight, but it's kind of hard working upside down and so far away. So, there you have it. Thank you for watching. All these items have links to the bottom in the boutique. It'll be below in my descriptions. Thank you, Lindsay Stamp Gang, for sending us these awesome products to review. I totally love them. I completely stand behind them, and I will be purchasing them, more of them, in the future. Thank you.